Do you have what it takes to be Bond? All new storyline featuring Pierce Brosnan as James Bond. 12 action-packed missions combining combat, stealth, and upgradable gadgets. Rendezvous with beautiful women and confront devious villains in more than 10 exotic locales. Over 10 customizable multiplayer modes, including characters and settings from classic James Bond movies. Engage in 5 high-speed levels with the Auston Martin V12 Vanquish and other dynamic vehicles.
"007 Nightfire" came out on November 18th, 2002 for the PlayStation 2, Gamecube, and Xbox. Developed by Eurocom, published by EA Games. Nightfire came out after Agent Under Fire, with a little tweaking of James's face to now be more similar to Pierce Brosnan. Up until now, it had merely been his likeness, and now they had the rights to his image, but not his voice. Joking aside, the game opens up with a movie-like prelude, which has Bond, you, in a helicopter with a sniper rifle, saving a French intelligence officer from pursuing cars. After saving her, the two of you get in his Auston Martin for a little bit of a chase. All of this ending with the music video just like a James Bond movie. Okay, this is the first game to do this, and it is big. Nay, a huge thing. The gun barrel opening sequence leading to an action-packed prelude and then the new song is movie-level handling. So with that in mind, I was starting to think, Nightfire sets a new bar for James Bond video games. And then once you play it, you see tighter gunplay, and the gadgets have a little bit of upgradability and a little flair, which to me reminds me of The World Is Not Enough for the PlayStation 1. And the first few car missions have the option to go first person, so you see through James's eyes and you see all of the dashes and the gauges in the Auston Martin, and I absolutely love that. All said, Nightfire takes everything good about Agent Under Fire and improves it. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. First and foremost is the options for control. There are 8 different control options, each named after either a movie or a game, like Goldfinger, which is my favorite style. But I really like the touch naming them after things in the Bond universe. Next, the guns have an alternative fire. In Agent Under Fire, the Walter PPK would put on a silencer, and the rifles that had a scope would automatically look down the scope. But no other weapon had an alternative fire function, so the button was used essentially for 2 guns, and that was it. In Nightfire, every gun has an alternative fire function. This is something I really like. The Walter PPK, again, has the silencer. Now, the shotgun changes from pump action to auto action. The mag has a laser that's turned on, which helps for distance shooting. The assault rifle goes from burst to auto, and the sniper rifle changes from normal ammo to heavier ammo that goes through bulletproof vests. All in all, the game feels just better than Agent Under Fire. Okay, here I would like to state that 2 different teams developed each game respectively, and aside from the story and the first-person aspect, I don't believe that the teams were collaborating on anything else. Oh, snap! The menus are the same. The background with the different color. Agent Under Fire has blue and Nightfire is red, but the same woman doing the same dance and same poses. Yeah. Unlike Agent Under Fire, the guns do not have any upgrades like golden accuracy. But with that in mind, the guns fire tight from the beginning. So I like that. Gadgets. Nightfire uses gadgets in basically the same way as Agent Under Fire, with there being a way to scroll back and forth through both weapons and gadgets. But then they changed the formula with the button to use gadget is the same as use weapon. Then another button is reserved solely for spectacles. I never really found the first vision to be useful, but the second vision of the spectacles came in a few times with lasers. Now, there are upgrades for the gadgets to unlock through winning gold during missions. The grapple upgrade was cool in that level with the warehouses. The upgrade was nice to negate riding on the automated forklifts and just, grapple up and move on with the mission. In The World Is Not Enough for the PlayStation 1, Bond throws his credit card out when he pulls it out and just before using it. Here in Nightfire, Bond does the same thing with his lighter slash camera and the Q worm slash credit card. And I really like it as it shows a little bit of Bond's confidence in using gadgets. I think it's funny that only a laser from the watch can cut wires or circuits. But I did like the way that the red wire would activate the alarm. That was a really funny surprise the first time I accidentally did that. Car combat. In Nightfire, I would say that in total there are 3 car combat levels. However, this is a sum of 2 half levels and then 2 normal levels. All right, let me break it down. In the Paris Prelude mission, which is the prelude, the last portion of the mission is in an Auston Martin. So it's the little chase scene I was talking about earlier. The next is a totally awesome level that begins with a car chase through a small village, ending in a battle on a frozen lake that could have been right out of Die Another Day. Both of these 1.5 levels take place in the Auston Martin, and to my utter delight, could be played in first person. Now, first person, not in the literal, on the nose of the vehicle, but in the eyes of Bond, as I was saying earlier, where you see the interior and Bond's thumbs, you get to see them as he uses gadgets and weapons. I love it. The next vehicular level is in the Auston Martin, but in submarine mode. Totally a Bond thing, having a supercar armed to the teeth, and it also has a submarine mode. Which this mission totally is in submarine mode. But it cannot be played in the same interior view from earlier, only third person or the first person I was mentioning, which is on the nose of the car. But regardless of that, it's fun. It's a blast. It's a pretty good length too, meaning it's not one of those like one and done missions where, you're done in a few minutes and nothing to write home about. No, there's several sections. There's a section with mines. There's a section with little micro submarines or like one-man diving units. I don't know. The level is fun. And on Agent and 00 Agent, it is fun and challenging. All right, now to the last half. Well, half driving mission, that is. So this mission begins in a security SUV armed with machine guns and missiles. Bond, you, will battle a few other SUVs, a few turret towers, and then a micro boss battle. When all is said and done, the last half of the level is on a rail in a plane with whatever health you had left over from the first half of the level. Just a little frustrating to die at the end of a level, to have to replay it and then learn that, I was like 2 seconds from the end. But because, like I say, that last half you're on rails and your health is just getting whittled away, it sucks to be like, oh man, I was like 2 seconds away from the end of the level. Wow. If only I had a little health during that boss battle. Whatever. It's a little frustrating, but not game breaking. In the end, from the opening gun barrel sequence that rolls over to the prelude, to a decent villain in Raphael Malprave, to several betrayals that totally fit right in the 007 universe, to the ending with the over-the-top final battle in space above Earth. This is a James Bond video game that had a structure and story that felt like a James Bond movie. Well, I mean, at least on the surface. Gone are the days of mission briefings that had M cue and an ending with a little snicker from Moneypenny. Come to think of it, Moneypenny was totally absent from this one and Agent Under Fire. And also, I think because in the movies, Desmond Llewellyn had retired, and so John Cleese was R. So whoever's impersonating R is doing a John Cleese, not a Desmond Llewellyn. Yeah. In the realms of gameplay, however, this is fun. Each level that is on foot has different ways to approach. Now, not exactly different routes, but several ways to do things. For instance, on the first level, you start off on this two-story structure. If you wait a few minutes, there's this truck that would go by. For several times, I played this level, and I noticed the truck, but I didn't use it in my planning. One time I thought, well, why not just stay on the second story structure, wait for the truck to come up and jump on it. And sure enough, this is the stealthiest way to do that. In the case of some levels with coded doors, they can be hacked with your decryptor, but your decryptor takes I want to say 30 seconds to decrypt it, or you could have found it on a computer somewhere nearby, the code. So there were multiple ways to get through that door. Still wondering why only the laser is able to cut wires and destroy circuits. Maybe it's because a bullet is in no way surgical enough to do that. But beyond that, this was a pretty fun 007 video game. Gunplay was tight, gadgets that spice up the options, a little salt and peppering of vehicular combat, a nice story that fits in with the movies. Side note, other than Nightshade being in Agent Under Fire and Nightfire, I found nothing that connected the two stories. No remnant MacGuffin that fuels a new thing left over from the other game into this game. No underling that, was in the last game that ascends to a higher villainy to get revenge in this game. No. To me, the stories seem pretty independent of each other than Nightshade. In the realms of continuity, what was it, Dr. No and From Russia with Love had Sylvia Trench being introduced in the prior and showing up in the latter. Although in From Russia with Love, Spectre is out to get revenge based on what Bond did to Dr. No. And these two games do not have that connecting thread. Apropos, Nightfire was a fun ride. A little superior to Agent Under Fire, if it had to be quantified. But as the second James Bond video game that is not based on a movie, it was pretty awesome. I will return with Everything or Nothing.